Well, thank you. I hear some applause. I can't see it, but I can feel it. So I really appreciate that. And Karina, thank you again for the introduction and for all the hard work you've done putting together this event. You know, before the video froze, when I saw the turnout was awesome. We're super excited that everyone could come out and take time away from their evening to come join us tonight. Not only to watch the film, but also to support the great work that you guys are doing with Ink for Pink. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'm Patrick Norman. I'm the director, producer, editor, pretty much all of the above for Full Circle. This project began for me almost 10 years ago when I happened to read an article about the subject. And in some discussions with a producer friend of mine, realized that this was a real opportunity to do some good and raise awareness for this wonderful art using the tools of documentary film. So that began an amazing process of reaching out, finding the women whose stories you saw in the film tonight, working with them over a few years as they went through, the process that you saw tonight, and then following up, learning more about how that process affected them, and then how we can use those experiences to bring some value and some information to the breast cancer community. So I'm a filmmaker based in Los Angeles. Documentary filmmaking is my full-time job, but I will say that of all the projects I've worked on, this one I think has been the most impactful and has received just so much it's received a lot of love and a lot of warm reception. And we're so happy for that and proud of that. And with me tonight, we also have some familiar faces. Jamie Jensen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys, again, I can't see you, but I'm assuming you're all there. I'm so happy that you got to come tonight and meet together and see the film that Patrick put together. I was super excited to be a part of it. About me, I guess I am a mother of 3. I have 2 kids in college now, which is insane. I live in Utah. A lot has happened since we started working on this film, so it's super fun to kind of go back and see where I've come from, where I was when this film was made, and where I'm at now. Patrick, correct me, like 4 years ago, we started working on this.
Ooh, we filmed you in 2015.
Yikes,
right?
That's crazy. So
pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Right? It was a whole different world back then. So 2015, this summer in June, I'll be 12 years out from stage 4 breast cancer diagnosis. So to see where I was even at this point when we filmed it to now is so cool. And I'm so happy we get to bring you this journey, and for myself and Diana and for the other gal in the show as well. It's just really great to be here with you tonight.
All right, Holly, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Holly. I own Gilded Lily, also here in Los Angeles, just a little bit north of LA. I specialize in paramedical tattooing and obviously a very heavy focus in artwork to cover up mastectomy scars. It's absolutely something I thought I'd do for a little while and just go back to regular tattooing, and here we are, so yeah, it's the most important work I could have ever done with any amount of talent that I have. So I'm really happy to be here and have been a part of the documentary. So there we go. Thank you.
And Diana, now you're up.
Hi, my name's Diana. I'm glad you guys were all able to come out for the filming. I started my journey with breast cancer in 2005. And I reached out to Patrick to join this amazing journey that I'm really excited that I was part of. Just to be able to participate and get the tattooing for my own personal reasons has been amazing. So I'm really happy to be here.
Wonderful. All right, well, Corina, why don't you kick it off? Back to you.
So this is going to be directed to you, Patrick. So why did you make this film? Everybody is inquiring minds want to know.
People want to know how to get into the nipple tattoo documentary business. Yeah, I realize at first blush I may not be the ideal person or the person you think of off the top of your head to make this project. And I will say that one of the wonderful things about being a documentary filmmaker is you really never know where the inspiration for projects will come from. And as I mentioned earlier, for me, I just happened to come across an article in a magazine about an artist who was doing this type of work. And being a layman in the breast cancer world, I had no idea this existed. But it was in reading that article that I went, well, oh my God, like, of course this would need to be done. This makes a lot of sense. This art is clearly impactful. It's clearly powerful. Um, but I didn't really know what to do with it. But it was later on with a conversation that I had with a producer friend of mine who was, I think, 34 at the time. She herself had gone through breast cancer, full double mastectomy, full reconstruction. And just telling her about what I'd read the night before, she said, look, when I went through this process, people weren't talking about this. This really isn't something that people know about. And I was given these like really lousy paramedical tattoo kind of things from just someone that their surgeon had brought in. And it wasn't the right kind of ink. The color looked terrible. It faded super quickly. And she was really left going, I don't really know what to do with this now, but I'm not happy with it. And had she known about this, the art and the potential that it brings to folks earlier in her process, she said it would have made all the difference in the world. And so for me, the light bulb just went off and I saw a real opportunity to use the power of storytelling to bring this information out. And I think, as you've seen any mention of this topic in the media, it really always seems to be the same thing. It's October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the local news does a little story on, a local artist who might be doing something like this, or a woman who's had the procedure done. But because it's local news, they only have so much time they can devote to the story, and they really can't portray it in a way that I think does it justice. It's always a wide shot on the other side of the room where you don't really see what's happening. There's a really loud, blaring tattoo, buzzing needle in the background. And I think that the way it's often portrayed is a little intimidating, and it can be off-putting for folks who, may be older or really had never considered tattooing before. So for me, I thought there was really an opportunity to explore the subject through the lens of documentary film and do something that was a bit more, more intimate, more beautiful, more inviting. I wanted it to feel very much as a conversation between sisters, right? People just sharing their own lived experience personally and not sort of being dictated options by some medical authority. And so my hope was that that is what came through in the film.
Thank you. Diana and Jamie, how did you first learn of this project and why did you want to participate?
Who was that directed to?
I think that maybe,
Diana?
yeah, why don't we ask Diana first and then Jamie?
So I want to say, I think I saw it on Facebook. It was social media where I saw, if anyone was interested, they were looking into doing a documentary with tattooing for mastectomies. And I was actually looking into that just prior to seeing that. So I was very interested in it. For my own personal self, the scarring, I just wanted that covered up. So I reached out to Pat and wanted to explore what the whole documentary and the process was.
Great. And Jamie?
I kind of had a similar, it's funny now that I try to think back to it, I'm like, where did I see that? That was, who knows? It was meant to be. But I was doing kind of like Diana. I was had finished up most of my reconstruction and was not about, like, mentally, I was not about to go have, a separate surgery for nipple reconstruction. I was just like, nope, not going to go through another thing. My skin's super sensitive, and my doctor talked a lot about how that procedure could fail, and then I'd be left with skin that had died, and several different things that scared me after having several reconstructive surgeries. So I was doing the same thing as Diana. I was researching, tattoos and what were other options besides that nipple reconstructive surgery. And I came across the same thing. And I remember emailing Patrick, and I was like, because it said something about, like, if you're in California, we'd love to chat with you. And I was like, I live in Utah. Is that close enough? Like, I knew I wasn't in California, but I was like, I think this is close enough that I could be involved. And I was really happy that, I made that, that leap of faith and was like, what's this going to be all about? I'm totally researching this too. Can we research together? And can I come on this journey with you? Because it really has been amazing and has opened so many doors. And I feel like I'm sure Holly and Patrick and Diana that I've told so many people about this and feel like I've helped a lot of people, which is just the icing on the cake of being involved with something like this is helping others. So.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in, Jamie. After we had a screening maybe 2 months ago for a group in Florida, we always sort of want to hear what the feedback is like from the people in attendance. And the head of the organization reached out and she said, listen, after that screening, we had 3 women run to their tattoo artists. They were on the fence. They were like, hesitant about it. But after seeing what these women went through in your film, they couldn't wait to get their tattoos. And I think as a filmmaker, that's such a wild thing to hear. I mean, it's so gratifying, right, to know that the stories that you've all shared have had this impact on people. But I think even to myself, it's like when someone has a poster of your movie on their wall, that's kind of a cool thing. But to think that people have now gone through and had tattoos as a result of seeing the work that we've all done, it's so humbling. So I'm just so glad that you guys are all comfortable sharing.
Thank you for sharing. So this one is to Holly, because I'm really interested, just like everybody else. How did you become doing the mastectomy tattoos? Like, how did you fall upon this type of art? Because you do have to be certain qualifications, I'm assuming, to know with the scarring.
Yeah. So there's a lot to it. I would say initially, the way it started was I got started with regular tattooing and just sort of gravitated towards scarring. I think a lot of people felt comfortable. It's a pretty male dominated, industry. And so when women wanted to cover up either a C-section scar or a tummy tuck scar or something, they felt more comfortable working with a woman. And so it just really was inspiring to work with people, both men and women. And primarily, it just sort of evolved and got more towards breast cancer. I had just maybe like everyone else, multiple people in my family go through breast cancer when I was fairly young. And so had been very involved in the breast cancer community with volunteering in other ways. And one day I had someone come in and she had horribly done tattooing, just like Patrick was saying earlier, just really bad ink, really just not anything artistic, just flat color, just smashed onto her skin. And I just thought I could do better. And so we ended up doing artwork to cover up her original areola tattooing that was done by the surgeon or a physician's assistant or something. And that just really lit a fire. It instantly resonated. And I felt like I needed to do more of that and get better at it myself. The artwork was fine, but doing actual nipple and areola tattooing, whole nother project. And so the way I've explained it many times before, the way I was raised in tattooing is you tattoo yourself. And so to practice, I tattooed about 16 or so nipples down my thigh. And there's a picture of it on my website, I think even. And back then they didn't have all the proper colors and everything. So I was mixing my own inks, and I just felt like it was something that was very necessary and it needed to not be done by doctors. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I like this question because for us watching it for the first time, this film, it was very empowering, but what was it like for you guys to watch this for the first time? Like seeing yourselves on screen?
I'll let Jamie and Diana answer that.
Diana, go for it.
So for me to see it the first time, it gave me chills. It was very exciting for me. I had been participating in multiple groups with breast cancer awareness, helping even at the hospital that I worked at prior, building a whole program for breast cancer awareness. So to see myself in the film, that I had done more than just community outreach, awareness, education, and to be able to reach out to more than just my little town that I lived in at the time, was amazing for me. That I was able to do a film and possibly help others in the same situation.
Yeah, so for me, I agree with what Diana's saying totally. Also, I was super nervous. Like, I was just really nervous. Like, I'm not a movie star. I had no idea how I would come off in a film. I was really nervous. I remember Patrick sent me a teaser of just a little bit of the film put together, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I don't look stupid. Like, I just thought it was beautiful. When I first saw the teaser, I was just like, this is amazing. I don't have anything to worry about. Like, I was in such good hands with Patrick and his team. I remember just all the nervousness when I first saw that little teaser was gone. I mean, I'm still nervous even doing these panels and having people see it, but I know that it is a wonderful film that Patrick put together. I'm so happy other people get to see it. I did have mixed reactions within my circle of friends and my family. My family was super, super supportive. Like, yes, you are an advocate, be involved with this. That's awesome. I had friends that were like, you really want lots of people to see your breasts? I was like, we're doing this. Like, I help people all the time, and I try to tell people, anyone I come in contact with, this is the advice I've learned along this journey. And now I've got, this other platform and this other knowledge going through this tattooing with everyone on this film. So, yeah, I kind of lost a couple friends that had bad reactions about it, but you know what? Like, if I'm helping other people, those friends were not great friends in the beginning. So, yeah, it's just been wonderful. So,
Thank you for sharing with us. This is I like this question only because it's, what advice would you give to women that are curious about tattooing? And this is directed to Holly, Diana, Jamie, Patrick. I mean, because you look at it from different angles. So it's very curious on your take.
Well, I'll go first with a little bit of advice, then I'll pass the mic over. I would say for anyone who is considering this kind of art, the first thing I would recommend is just do your homework. Make sure that if you find an artist, you see their work, you see their portfolio, you know what they're capable of doing and what their artistic sensibilities are. But also make sure that they've had experience doing this type of work specifically. I think for us, the last thing that we want to do is encourage folks to just go to any old tattoo shop on the corner and walk right in and say, okay, now take care of my mastectomy. Like, no. We have resources on our website, but also we've teamed up with Personal Ink, pink.org. They're a nonprofit whose whole mission is to connect women with these tattoo artists they know are qualified, that have the experience, the background, the training to do this kind of work. So I would say, first and foremost, do your homework. Make sure that this is a tattoo artist that you trust, because this should be an equal sort of experience. They should be listening to you, taking your feedback. You're putting this art together. And we want to make sure that that is first and foremost. And the other thing that I'll briefly mention, I'll let some of the other folks on the panel talk to this too, is that if you are considering something that is perhaps like a larger decorative piece, or you're concerned about whether or not it may hurt because there's different sensitivities with nerve endings after surgeries, you don't have to get everything done in one session. Feel free to break it up into multiple parts if need be. There are also options available for numbing creams and things like that. So if you're concerned about how it might feel, how you might endure it, or what it might, what that process might be like, move at your own pace and just tell your tattoo artist that, you might need to take a breather, come back in for another session, and they'll work with you for something like that. Jamie, what do you think?
I totally agree with that. That's great advice. I mean, you want to make sure that you are finding somebody like Shane, who I worked with, or Holly. I mean, they are so great at their profession and their specific work within this area. So for sure, I piggyback on that. And then I would say, anyone that I've talked to that was like, and I love that, Patrick was telling us there were some people in a previous screening that were on the fence and then watched the film, and they were so excited after watching the film to go out and do this. I tell anyone that's on the fence, it made like the biggest difference in my mental state and how I felt about all of my my surgeries. It was really like the end part of the whole process for me, and it really did. I 100% didn't think it would have as large of an impact on myself and my self-esteem and kind of like the closure piece there. And it really, and however would we say, 8 years later, I can't believe that, but 8 years later, still huge impact on me. I barely even think about what my breasts look like now, and it's amazing. It's made a huge difference. So I would 100% be like, go for it. And all that advice from Patrick was great. So.
Thanks, Holly.
Sure. Yeah. I'd say communication is a great way. Ask lots and lots of questions. I think you should feel comfortable with it, whoever you're working with. And they should absolutely be able to share a portfolio. Every once in a while I hear like, oh, someone at the hospital does it, and so I don't know if I want to come see you or if I want to see, just go through it with the hospital and everything. And so I just always urge people to ask, to say, can I see your portfolio? And if they cannot show you a portfolio, that is a big red flag. That is a huge red flag. They can damage your skin more. I mean, you want someone that knows how to work with radiated skin, that's, had multiple revisions, just any number of things. Sometimes I deal with ladies that have dealt with necrosis. I mean, it's all very, tenuous. And so, and also, yeah, going to just a regular tattoo shop. I mean, you'll probably throw someone off coming in and saying, hey, can you tattoo a nipple? So there's that. And I think absolutely just communicating with the artist, like you said, about timing and everything. I err on the side of caution. If I have anybody traveling in from out of town, we break it down into a couple of days. By all means, I have a lady right now that she was here earlier in the week. She's from the East Coast. This is her 3rd year in a row coming out. It's not been the same project. It has evolved. So we took care of across her chest, the initial appointment. Then a year later, we went down on her ribs, and then even now she's almost got a full sleeve and on her back and everything. So as a heads up, it can get a little addicting. She had no tattoos prior. So, but I think it's really wonderful just having a connection and having a relationship with, each and every person, hearing the success stories, and, just getting people to move on with the rest of their lives. It's just, yeah, it's fantastic. So.
Perfect. And Diana, what do you think?
I agree with everybody. Especially do your research, because where I started from, I did go with the surgeon. I did have the tattooing with him first, which part of the reconstruction, with the tattooing that he did in the areola and on the nipple, he flattened it out. So then that it kind of ruined the whole reconstruction part of it. So definitely do your research, make sure the surgeon knows what he's doing, if that's the route you want to go. But because mine did not turn out very well, once I saw Patrick's post out there, that I was like, this is what I want. Since it's been flattened out and my reconstruction had just gone south, I thought the tattooing was a good choice for me. gave me back my self-esteem, just like Jamie said, made me feel good about myself till this day. I love it. It's what I needed for me.
All great. Thank you. I know we have people fading, but I have a couple of questions from our sheet, and then I have some audience questions already texting. So we have a lot of questions. I want to know, or we want to know, Holly, what's
Yes.
surprised you most about this type of work? Now,
what surprised me most about either, I would say continuously surprises me. Well, first of all, I would say the fact it surprises me that we are still doing this type of work, in all honesty. When I first got started, I thought, heck, I'll do this for a few years, they'll find a cure, we'll be done with this, and I'll go back to regular tattoos. So that's probably the big overall surprising thing, that we're sort of still here. But I find it, though, very encouraging that medically we've come further and further. There's so many more options for women. I know we're fighting for our DEET flaps right now, with insurance companies right now, but it seems like we're going to get that back as an option. But I think just the individual connections that are made, maybe it's not surprising, but it's a wonderful part of doing this work. I'm on the happy side of, their reconstruction and moving on with their lives. And it's just, I think it's amazing that it empowers women so much. Like everyone said, sort of touched on, it's just the fact that it can make such a difference. It can bring someone to tears when they look in the mirror for the first time. It can have them dance around and want to walk outside without a t-shirt on. It's inspiring. It really is. It's really, I think that's probably the best gift that I get out of it, is that, someone walks out and feels like they can be with their partner again without the lights turned off. It feels like, they can go without a top on, in public, or if a blouse falls to the side a little bit, they've got some beautiful artwork to cover up something. They can go to a spa and not worry about, being uncovered and feeling awkward. So yeah, I love being, and we'll use the word surprise, but I love being inspired. And women come to me with all sorts of wonderful creative ideas, and I think it's really fun to create artwork with each individual person.
you guys are amazing artists. The awe, some of the art I see is just like, is that real? Like, it's just beautiful. So I'm a breast cancer survivor myself, and many people here are too. We have to thank the artists, because without you, we wouldn't have options. So that's a huge thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
And then Patrick, tell us what's next for Full Circle, and how you're going to bring this to the breast cancer community.
Ooh, what's next? Well, as we look ahead at the rest of 2023, we're really excited about our national broadcast premiere on PBS. That will be coming ideally to a station near you in October of this year for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So really excited to be getting a lot of folks behind the big push for the television run. But the other thing that we're doing, in addition to the usual things you'd expect with a film premiere, is also taking an approach that is more of a direct grassroots outreach campaign to the breast cancer community. So we've been organizing screenings and trying to provide resources for support groups, hospital systems, national nonprofits, just finding all the different ways that we can use the film as a resource for these communities. And in some cases, that is a screening like we're doing now. In other cases, later this year, we'll be releasing an online toolkit as a resource as well that has a lot of additional video information, discussion guide for support groups and things like that. So we are just really focused on bringing it to the breast cancer community first and foremost, and then later in the year, releasing it to the general public.
Exciting, and we can't wait to watch and see where you take this, because your film was amazing.
Thank you.
It's, yeah, absolutely. This question is from the audience, and it's for Dianna and Jamie. You can tell we have some artists in the in our audience today. So, have your tattoos aged? Question mark is one. And how are you feeling about them like 5 years later, or how long they've been? Because that's huge. Like, a tattoo is for life. So I don't know if you want to go first, Jamie?
I'll go first, sure. It's funny because at the beginning I was trying to decide, like, my sister and brother are like tatted all over. They're full sleeve, they're crazy, they look amazing. And they were just like, you're just gonna get the nipples done? You're not gonna do like some amazing, beautiful artwork? And I was so tempted, and it would have been the perfect excuse, like, oh, I'm just gonna cover up some scars. And but I really have been really pleased with my decision. I think I would have been happy either way, but to just do the 3D nipple and areola tattooing for me has really just put everything back to how it looked before. Now, I definitely agree with Holly on the being addicted kind of thing. I'm already have things planned. Maybe I'll go see Holly later or go back to Shane. They're just both great. But my sister is always trying to talk me into stuff. But mine has held up amazing. I think there's a little bit of fading, but it still looks great. I thought about getting a little bit of touch up, but it really doesn't need it at all. Like, it really still looks great. I still fool myself all the time thinking it's, just my brain has really just kind of worked through some new pathways that's just me. I don't even think of it as tattoos at all. So it's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you. Dianna, how about you?
Well, for me, my tattoo has very little fading, looks great still. It definitely, as soon as I had it done, I've been itching to go back and get more. I would like to add to it and do a sleeve, definitely. But I love my tattoo. It's still bright. Like I said, very little fading though.
I would just say, and I'm just going to jump in for 1 second too, and just sort of speak as far as the fading goes. The inks that Shane and I use and that other paramedical tattoo artists use, we're using inks as if it were like a regular tattoo. So it's different than cosmetic ink. So that's a huge difference. So when people get their eyebrows done, lip liner, all that fun stuff, that ink is meant to fade. It's just made differently, and you want that almost to fade, because maybe your eyebrows, you want to, thicker, fuller than thinner. You can change that. That constantly needs touching up and everything. So the inks do make a difference on what's used and who's using them. I'll definitely say that. And then as far as, it's just like any other tattoo too. If you're going to be out sunbathing nude, then, put sunscreen on, and your tattoos are gonna be just fine. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying the difference between medical and the tattoo ink that you use.
The cosmetic ink, right? Yeah.
So this actually is for you, Holly. Do you just do the decorative, or do you also do the 3D areola nipples?
Yeah, so I definitely do the 3D nipple and areola tattooing. I have a handful of surgeons that I work with directly here in LA, and I actually travel back and forth to Texas. I've got a surgeon out there that keeps me very busy. And so, yeah, and I travel out there just to do nipple and areola tattooing. Every once in a while, I'll have a client out there for artwork, but yeah, that is a major part of what I do at my studio, is the nipple and areola tattooing. Yeah.
And did you do any training to learn, or did you just teach yourself how to do the?
Oh, sorry, say
Oh.
that again.
For the areola and then 3D, did you do training, or did you pretty much just teach yourself on, because we saw you tattooing on your leg?
Right. It was a combination.
Okay.
So I did a lot of work on my own and everything, of course, practicing on my own. And I tried to search out people that had done it in the past. Someone that was teaching a class, you know, it was a very sort of rudimentary. She gave everyone the same size areola. She based it on a washer. So she would use a washer. And so, you know, I've cherry picked along the way information from a handful of different colleagues and everything, and just sort of made it my own, I guess, so to speak. There are some great educational, Stacey Ray does a really great, I've actually taught with her. We've hosted a class here in LA together. There is great training out there. I would just say, again, do lots of research if someone was interested in doing anything like that. But yeah, I mean, every state's going to be different too, as far as certifications. Medical tattooing doesn't have a whole lot of licensing and regimenting in that regard. So, I mean, all the more reason to go to someone that really knows what they're doing.
Patrick, how did you find everybody for the film? Was it the social media, or is there reasons you picked how many people applied? Like, how did you go through the process of picking who was in the film, I guess?
Yeah, we started with a giant billboard in Los Angeles. No, yeah, you can imagine how challenging it might be to find, you know, people who would be willing to you know, go through a process like this, and to be willing to not only share their experience, but also, you know, reveal themselves on camera to, you know, an untold number of audience. And so for me, I was just trying to be as transparent as I could, explain the project I put together, just a simple website, and open a casting call. And as Diana said, you know, I think we put some things on social media. We try to get in contact with some of the breast cancer nonprofits at the time to see if they had any people that, you know, they'd be considering going through this process. So we started with working with nonprofits. We talked to a few tattoo artists to see if maybe they had anyone on a wait list that might be interested in this project. But it was just really putting the word out there in the breast cancer community and seeing who might be willing to participate. And you know, each of the women just happened to see what we were up to. They emailed me, and we just hopped on a call. You know, we got to know each other a little bit, learned a bit more about each other's stories and what we were hoping to do with the project. But I think, you know, for me, it was important to have a bit of diversity too. You know, I didn't want to just show three of the exact same stories. We were interested in really showing the spectrum of what's available with this kind of art. So, you know, again, for some people, the realistic nipple and areola tattooing is the perfect fit for them, but for others, they might be interested in something more decorative. So we just wanted to be sure that we were including a mix, that we could show people the range of what was possible. But, you know, also just have different backgrounds, different experiences with this, because of course, everyone's breast cancer journey is different. And so we wanted to just find as many ways as we could to be as diverse in our storytelling that we possibly could. I think just to piggyback on that, it was very important for us to make sure that this wasn't seen as like a one size fits all option, right? Like everyone's cancer recovery journey is dynamic. And so we just wanted people to know that if they were considering something like this, that there wasn't a singular option. It wasn't like you have to get a certain kind of tattoo. We just want to show you the range of options available, and, you know, let your own curiosity and inspiration take it from there.
Yeah, I like that each one was a little bit different. Like Jamie was the nipple areola, and then we got a great big piece, and they're just beautiful. I mean, all pieces were beautiful. I'm going to yell at the audience and see if there's any more questions. Oh, will there be a full circle too?
Oh, that's a great question. And no, I think right now our plate's pretty full, just getting Full Circle 1 out into the public. And we were talking earlier about what a journey it's been, and it is wild to think about it. We were initially set to premiere the film in March of 2020, which, as you can imagine, was the all-time greatest time to premiere a film. We were set to premiere actually at a film festival on a Wednesday. It was canceled on the Tuesday, and then by that Friday, Los Angeles was completely locked down, and people were hunting for food and toilet paper, and the world was crazy. So for us, it was a matter of going, okay, well, there are more important things going on in the world right now than releasing a movie. So we'll just sort of put the brakes on this and wait for things to calm down a little bit. And so, yeah, we were just so excited that in that sort of pandemic interlude that we experienced, we were able to really focus on, more effective ways of reaching the community that we saw in the first place. And I think something like this is a really great development from that. Initially, well, in the old world, pre-COVID, these would all have to be like live in-person screenings that we'd all have to go to and, participate in the panel in person, which, we love. That's great. But I think being able to meet people like this virtually, now that we're all comfortable with this technology, just lets us reach so many more people so much faster and easier. So, even though it was a challenge finally getting this film out there, we're really grateful for, I think, the tools that have come up that have allowed us to do it in the most effective way possible.
Thank you. I know from an ink perspective, when we did the news station article about the film and just to promote it, our requests went through the roof. I mean, we had 30 new requests within a 48-hour period. And most of them were from women 5+ years saying, hey, I've always wanted a tattoo. I've never been able to look at myself. It was just like story after story flooding in. So when we were premiering this tonight, everybody was excited because this is our mission. This is what we do. Your work just helped us tell a story of what the art and the tattooing can do for somebody's mental health and physical, and just that peace of mind after breast cancer. And even during, I mean, we have people that are still going through treatment that are just like excited. They're already planning. So we want to thank you and everybody that was part of this film for allowing us to show it and bring it to life.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share it with you. Just hearing that response, that's so humbling. That's so wonderful to hear. And I think that for those of us who've been working on this project for so long with the intention of having a real impact and making a difference in the breast cancer community, it's one thing to think about it, but it's another thing to hear about it and to really see that happening in person. That's just so wonderful. And I'm so happy to hear that's having that kind of an impact.
Absolutely. And next, it's taken after the insurance, because this should be covered. These tattoos should be covered. There is no question about it. So we're going to jump on that wagon as soon as we can, because there's a lot of people that feel the same way we do, because that's what we do. We cover it because insurance won't. And
yeah, I mean, there's, with the insurance and everything, they have the CPT codes for the nipple and areola tattooing, but it depends on where people are at with deductibles. A lot of times they don't like if I were to do it versus their surgeon. So a surgeon could do it and they wouldn't blink an eye about reimbursing the surgeon for doing it, even if they have to come in once a year for the rest of their lives because they're not using the right ink or doing it properly. But to pay someone like myself or to reimburse someone that gets the tattooing done, it should be done without question. It should be paid for. And if someone wants to do artwork, at least it should cover the same amount that if someone did the nipple and areola tattooing, it should cover the same amount, because that's your reconstruction and you should be able to do whatever you want and not be penalized for it. Yeah.
So thank you so much for this film and for everything and coming on here and sharing everything with us. That's it.
Thank you.
For videos, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of stuff posted because people were going crazy with cameras. So.
Oh,
I can't
Oh,
wait.
we have one more question.
Oh, sure.
Oh, she can talk in the mic.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I have a question about diversity. So, Black women are statistically the most affected by breast cancer, and I was wondering how you plan to reach the Black community with this film, since they are not represented.
That's a great question. Yeah, I will say that the diversity of the casting in the film had no bearing on any of that. It was strictly a matter of who responded and who we were able to work with schedule-wise. But I think to the point about the impact breast cancer is having on the African American community, one thing that we're really focused on is finding ways to include our resources in those discussions with those particular groups. So we've been meeting with a number of different nonprofits and organizations specifically tailored to that community. We're meeting, I think, with the Chrysalis Initiative in a week or so. But we've been actively engaging with a number of those communities to find ways of bringing these resources to them as well. Because for us, we just want to get the information out to as many places as possible. So whether that's working with, Komen or American Cancer Society or any of the larger groups that have a lot of reach, or something more targeted, like the groups we mentioned, or, Sharsheret, which is like the Jewish nonprofit for breast cancer. We're just trying to find ways of getting this to everyone who's been impacted by it.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's for real. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you.
There would have been a
Thank you
lot.
everyone so much. We so
Thanks.
appreciate it. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us on the
Thank you.
panel tonight. And if you guys are so inclined, please go on social media. If you have a strong reaction to the film or any pictures from tonight, we'd love for you to tag us. We're at Full Circle Doc on all the socials. But we'd really love to hear your thoughts on the film, because so much of our
They
reaction.
got a lot of pictures. So.
Oh, perfect. Good. Yeah, we want to hear what people are thinking. So bring it on. We're excited to see them.
You're like, stop tagging me.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Have a great night.
Thanks so much, Corina. Thanks
you.
again, everyone. Have a great night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.